Recording.
Hi guys, today we're installing a few mods on this Triumph Speedmaster, be it an oil pressure gauge and oil temperature gauge. To obviously keep a better eye on your motorbike so you can see what's going on, because a warning light doesn't mean much when the light's on.
The light's on, the engine is gone.
Exactly.
So, what are you using?
Up here we've got the bits and bobs we need. Some Teflon tape just to seal the threads. The hose to extend between the actual oil tap you're going to wind into. Got our nice brand new American made oil temperature gauge running on PSI, bought from eBay, along with our nice and brand new, once again eBay bought, temperature gauge running in Celsius.
Very nice.
And all the little bits and pieces to make it all work.
Cool.
First you'll need an 8mm spanner or socket to take this little nut off, or the bolt, sorry, that's hanging off the manifold. Wiggle it back and forth, it'll loosen up. There we go. Comes off pretty quickly. This is just to hold the mounting bracket on, and it's not actually going to tap into any oil, so there's no worry about oil leaking everywhere when you take this out. We have the bracket here. As you can see, there's a smaller hole and a bigger hole. Smaller hole is for the bolt that goes back through into the manifold. You want to leave it loose for now so you can adjust the angle so you can see it best when you're riding the bike. Stainless goes above the bracket onto the gauge. Copper goes underneath, along with your stainless steel overnut. Wind it on by hand so it's tight as you can get it. Next we're putting on the oil pressure gauge, and you'll need some Teflon tape to lock the thread, stop any oil coming out. Trick is to run it the opposite direction of the nut, otherwise you'll unwind the thread locker as you put the nut on. Once you've got the Teflon tape on, you chuck your stainless washer on the top side and above the bracket, followed by a copper washer on the underside, and then your stainless overnut. To tighten those, you'll need a 14mm on the underside and an 11mm on the other side. Up next, you'll have to take off this bolt here, which is the existing bolt holding in the oil feed, 16mm. In our case, it's quite tricky to get, so we've got this U-joint on our socket set. Once it goes, it goes. You want to be careful when you take this off, because there are some small copper washers in here that you don't want to lose. There's one copper washer on top of the bolt, and one on the underside of this existing oil feed. Which we're going to leave there because it's nice and tight and not going anywhere anyway. Now we're going to be putting in the new bolt to hold it all together, plus the new feed for the oil pressure gauge and the two crush or copper washers. Get the bolt, pop a washer on the very top of that, followed by the feed for the new pressure gauge, mounted that way up, pointing obviously towards the pressure gauge. followed by the second copper washer, and that all goes on top of what's already there. Next we'll put on the hose connecting the two units together. You'll need a 13mm spanner and 11mm spanner. The ends are identical, so can't muck it up. Start by winding it on both ends by hand, so it's just finger tight. Same thing on this top end here. Just like that. Upgrade number 2 is going to be the oil temperature gauge into the top of the oil tank here. So you'll need your upgrade tank measurement and a really big flathead screwdriver or other pry bar to get in there, because it's a seriously big gouge you've got to rotate out of. It comes with a rubber washer, so you don't need the one that's existing on the bike. Get this little fella here, and it's just simple as winding on, hence all the cross-cut thread on and cross-cut grips on there. There you have it. Upgrade number 2, just like that. Finally, you'll start up your bike, make sure there's no oil springing from the upgrades you've just done, make sure everything's hunky-dory.
Now I might be able to.